Good afternoon, Abbotsford residents. I'm Mr. Pelican. I'm running for your Commander-in-Chief here in Abbotsford for our great city, for residents, families, and also my taxpayers. There is no if, buts, or maybes. My mayorship run is to help my residents, families, and stop the organized crime within the Abbotsford Police. Today I'm going to do a podcast on the Abbotsford Police outlining everything. I want to emphasize that Missions RCMP, the men and women in there, helped Abbotsford residents when I went to them on the corruption. I don't think Abbotsford's police department can do what it used to do, reach to other police departments and say, for the greater safety of BC and everywhere, we need your help. I don't think so. Thanks to the Mission RCMP, the organized criminal ring got exposed. When Darren Braun, Henry's son, leaked, I took that information to the Mission men and women, and they knew that was vital, being Henry's son, being the economic development officer, and Henry having council decisions, Rob Funk and Diverse, Vicky Hopes and everything. It was too much information to be a conspiracy, but the truth. The detectives, the task force, and everybody in the Abbotsford Police will assure residents that they're here because of the gangs. They were the instrumental of running the gangs, in my opinion, controlling the drugs, selling the drugs, marketing the drugs. Let me give you a hypothesis. When Olenoff said, Mr. Pelican, you dropped them fucking videos and that lawsuit with them homeowners of Henry having counsel collaborating in his house, I will personally bury you. She's over, right there. She's over. And Mike Sir Rendon fucking hit the chief because he was under Henry's thumb. Nobody would ever prove that you're running a criminal ring through the police department for the official community plan, which was worth more than drugs. They researched this really good of how they were going to control the city, owning them MLAs and owning them MPs. New ring of crime. Olenoff stated Henry had millions of dollars in his safe. In my opinion, that's probably everything the Abbotsford Police been seizing at night and taking it to Henry. I'm the boss, I'm the boss. Olenoff said Henry had break-ins left, right, and center on Downs. When his staff sergeant searched and the RCMP searched, they knew Olenoff was lying. He was Henry's bitch. The rest just exposed itself. For the Abbotsford Police man to think that uniform, I'm a detective, or I'm an investigator, or my face is shielded from the gangs because I'm a special one, I can sympathize for the court. This is a long overdue. You attack politicians. And if you couldn't see this thing coming, you're stupider than everybody, and even the gangs would laugh. What are I doing here today? I want to touch on one thing quickly. John Rustad was the first man of the BC Conservatives in our houses. He's a tremendous friend to me and Abbotsford residents, and give him hope on the neglect what Henry was doing with his son, the threats by Abbotsford Police. He spent the whole day. John Rustad took the BC Conservatives from nowhere and up to the ranks. Almost won the election. John Rustad was there for all the controversy. Here's my take, and Abbotsford residents and big developers' takes of what's happening in the political ring. I'm more focused on Abbotsford, but I said today I'll do a podcast on it today. The BC Conservatives, I told you 2 months ago, were in turmoil, and with Brody creating the One BC, which is gauging in the ranks and splitting and the dividing. David Eby, developers were telling me David Eby needs a bigger scandal on the Conservatives to call an election. The internal fighting in the BC Conservatives is unbelievable. So this will help you, David Eby. This will help you get a start. But I wouldn't run Pamela Alexis as an MLA ever again because she was under Henry's thumb. That's how she lost here. The BC Conservatives are internally fighting. They stabbed John Rustad in the back rather than stay with him to get BC Conservatives elected. They didn't. So to elect a new official, they have no people there that can detain him. They got some liberals in there. They got some other people in there that are all internally fighting. It's not about the province. It's not about the residents. By unseating John Rustad and stabbing him in the back, not that it's my cup of tea to worry about, it shows no great response from all the people that said, I want to be a BC Conservative. Thanks for getting me in, John. Now I don't care about my residents, I care about myself. That's put in a nutshell. Okay, well, here's the outtake of it. If David Eby would have listened to me, what I was showing him and telling him, he would have held off and now called the a snap election, and he would have a full mandate. He can't do it now because you're going into Christmas, it would be a problem. Can the BC Conservatives get somebody that can lead them strong? The man that's pointed interim, I'm telling you from my sources, that he's the biggest trouble in the Conservatives right now, and he shouldn't have never been there. That's from all my sources, and my sources don't mislead me, they're true. And the internal fighting Armin Bang, Minister of Transportation, he's fighting and everybody's fighting. What's my take? What's Abbotsford's take? There's some great leaders out there, and I'll touch on them, that they can get the Conservatives in control and say, look, bring all their MLAs elected and say, we need to get you under control. You stop bloody taking pictures with locals. You stop with the Chamber of Commerce. You go out, work your ass off. And even as a no-mind, Rianne Gasper, Corky Neufeld showed the way that you can work hard, Souk Mangel. But not to mention the BC Conservatives, the federal Conservatives got the same garbage going on. Unless Pierre Poilievre kicks the shit out of Ed fast flying to Ottawa, Ed's going to slowly manipulate the MPs to walk over to Carney, because Ed was about getting Mike in with Henry, and it's about the money, and he lost touch even about Conservative. And you can see him manipulating through Brad Viss, left, right, and centre, about that flood money and what they need to cover in Abbotsford because it got told by Henry's son. So Pierre Poilievre better take a lesson from the BC Conservatives and get his MPs under the job. Who would I advise that could? Remember, when the Conservatives were in trouble, I heckled the BC MLA for the Liberals, Bruce Banman. I called him Loosey-Goosey Bruce when he wasn't standing up about the Mackenzie Bog on the Abbotsford City, Ross Siemens getting people deadly sick. Bruce said, what the hell's your problem, man? Come to my office. And he spoke, call the environmental acts and everything else. That's Pam's problem. And push on Pam. I'm the opposition. I can help you, show you the roads you need to go. And everybody was grateful for it. And I'll haul any politician out because, let me explain, I'm going to explain the politician video today, and I want you to watch this thing. Bruce Banman crossed the floor and made the BC Conservatives what they are. So the man that should get the choice, whether I like it or not, and is very outspoken, he's very well known with all developers. They like him, the little feisty man. They say he takes the facts and he delivers, and they like what he did to the Minister of Housing the other day, is Bruce Banman, to become the leader of the BC Conservatives. But he better get everybody in the corner and sit him down and say, listen, either you're on board of becoming a party, an elected party, to help BC and do terms here, or you're in here turning and fighting, and he needs to put a stop to it. And that's what the Conservatives need. And if they don't, they're in such turmoil, they're going to tear the party apart. Some will go back to Kevin Falcon to BC United. Some will go back there, and David Eby will call an election, and he'll get a mandate. And if this turmoil keeps coming, you know, there's the former mayor of Surrey. There's a lot of people that probably could come in and help. But you need a leader. You need to show that the man can take it on the face. And Bruce Banman was there when the city went behind his back and did the chicken manure so Henry could plan the future of development for Ron Funk of the Verse. Bruce stood up. People got fired and he owned it, and Bruce is always there. I don't think you're going to get in that bag's pocket. What are I doing today? This is behind Walmart. Remember, I'm focused on my 25 points of Ross Siemens. I need to become the mayor for the official community plan with city councils so Henry can keep the official plan that he worked his ass off for Ron Funk and all the illegal sites to go. Now, he wants to talk about the accomplishments, the 25 accomplishments the council did, not him, the council did. I showed you the other day the rocks on Gladys Avenue, how many millions of dollars under my financial audit. That was unnecessary. The police on your time cards, one junk BC bylaw and everybody, a couple of $1 million. I showed Ross is panicking. He'll probably be emptying the coffers each way he can to fund all the money. Henry needs him in. He needs to keep the official community plan going. Developers, he lobbied on board around Mill Lake and everything, lose billions of dollars. This is what led to the fights in Abbotsford. This is what led to Mogill getting threatened by the task force. This is what led to a corrupt police force. Ross Siemens said his first 25 things, David Eby, I helped you today on a podcast. I want you to help my city of Abbotsford and boot Ross Siemens in the testicles. He said that he is about the 25 plans going after the homeless complacency. This was shut down here in December. It was rushed out of here quickly. It only took 3 days to get it out of here, where it took over a couple of months to build. When they built it, they galley-loud around on time cards so they could increase the bill to the province. They wanted it out of here for embarrassment reasons. They rushed it out at night, and they worked all night, and they got it out of here. They said the highway was coming. You're in the middle of the winter, you don't got another facility. Now that will allow cost overruns on the new facility and increase everything and rip the province and taxpayers off by saying we're rushing the facility, do double time. Hey Bob, you want to come in and work and create a $30,000 bill? We have to financial audit that new facility. Rather than Archway Community Services, Rob Sandiego and Patricia Driesen, the director and the city council, stand here and say, no, you're not going to close this. You can't build the highway. You can't compact it. And this is all bullshit. And put the homeless out all over. The homeless are between the train tracks I showed you, they're everywhere. And the Ross said here, council's job was this year was to combat the homeless and get a response for the homeless. All he's doing is helping Archway, and he's got to pay back Archway for taking the food bank recycling away. Remember that. So here we're in the middle of December. The homeless are scattered everywhere. The people that came here and fed them, there was no plan. And when Bruce Banman stood up in the ledge and talked to the housing minister about other things, this is the prime example. These people need to stay out of these mayors and the municipalities of the residents and quit playing backroom politics for big millions of dollars and what can sneak through the back door. You're dealing in this election with very, 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 very qualified people that were developers, know the kicks and know how to find it. I brought them in. I brought him in because of the organized crime, and I made no mistake. Any officer in uniform that thinks he's above the law and thinks, well, you know, I'm a detective, shit can't come up my way, like Olenoff. That shit's gonna come up your way, you're gonna lose your house, you're gonna go to jail. We're gonna go after criminal convictions as your mayor and jail sentences for fraud against Abbotsford taxpayers. Thanks to Darren Brown, I could show that. So to the Minister of Housing, to David Eby, I would pull all the money out of Abbotsford, because right now you need it for the election with the Conservatives fighting, and you don't need no two-bit mayor that's going to wreck your MLA like they did Pam. Remember, Pam lost solely 100% because of Henry Brown, Ross Siemens, and Abbotsford First in the Chamber of Commerce. Took Pamela Alexis down and brought her in here, the fighting on Mackenzie Bog and everything. And Pam didn't maintain a professional distance. She got under Henry's thumb. There's no chance that Pam's going around now and thinks she's going to get back. So, right after the new year, if I was the NDP, I'd call a snap election quickly. Unless the Conservatives work this whole Christmas on their own time and put that party back together and come to a plan, a full plan, David Eby's going to get a full mandate. And that I could guarantee you. And if I see Pam put her name in, I'm going to maybe run my name or anybody else, maybe go to Kevin Falcon or 1BC, and we're going to block. We're going to split the votes till this stuff gets sorted and we get the RCMP in Abbotsford. But remember, I want to make all politicians very, very aware of one thing. Henry Brown opened the door on all this scamming, all this rigging, how to get the elections loaded, and the corruption within police departments to own elections in the newspapers, and what he did with Craig Toes of the Chamber of Commerce, and what he did with Gabriel through the electoral officer. Thanks to Darren Brown, the Mission RCMP, she's unstoppable. So to the Minister of Housing, I think you should stand up and say, Mr. Speaker, I apologize to the official opposition party whip, Bruce Banman. Homeless are out in the cold, they're scattered in all Walmart's parking lot, going in the middle of the winter. I was belligerently used by this fake council and this garbage mayor in Abbotsford. We don't have no business in there, Mr. Speaker. We don't have an MLA in there. We shouldn't be funding this money in there. And every time we get in Abbotsford, we're humiliated and our party gets weak and we lose an MLA. Nobody is looking after the homeless, not even Rob Sandiego. They're building their own portfolios. And this here, Ross, is another one of your 25 points going into election. I want you just to say, hi, Abbotsford residents. This is Ross Siemens and the corrupt council, Patricia Driesen. And we failed to come out and do any interviews, but Henry Brown needs us to run another term for the official community plan that I secretly don't want to speak of, that's worth millions of dollars, the illegal stuff on Ron Funk, Devin Roy, Ed's son-in-law, and all these job sites, the Cooper's Farm where 3,000 people didn't get to speak, the Mackenzie Bog, where I never stood up to went and visit them residents and allowed my friends to complete hazardous materials all in their houses. And I need to get in, and this is how you do organized crime. She's off the rails. Abbotsford needs leaders. Abbotsford's going to get leaders. The province needs leaders, and the federal government needs leaders. And they need to stop saying pictures. If I take a picture, this will happen. It's well documented what happened to this candidate, Suk Bangel. When I knew Henry didn't want a South Asian, and Ed Fast didn't want a South Asian, and they were loading Mike de Jong to try to cover everything, could squash everything. I could tell you, if I walk out here, if you could see me walk out there, you could see how skinny my backside is. I worked my ass off with Abbotsford residents and said, like it or not, Suk Mangel's got to become the MP, and we got to cut Henry's ties off, the Abbotsford police ties, and we got to cut the city's ties and away from the chamber. I'll do you a favor, Suk. I'll promote you at the Chamber of Commerce if you take a picture. Pictures don't do it. Hard, honest work's going to do it, and the truth is going to get it done every day. So I'm live behind Walmart. To the Minister of Housing, I sure would hope that you would apologize, because David Eby would say, if you pull the money out of Abbotsford now and you kick Ross between the testicles, Mr. Pelican and candidates will lay off when my candidates run for MLA against the Conservatives here in Abbotsford. That I give you a guarantee. But till Abbotsford sees movement from the province, that there you're not going to get this riding, and that there I will give you a guarantee, because I'm running for Commander-in-Chief here in Abbotsford. And when I get the RCMP, and Abbotsford's going to breathe, and they're going to have a long sleep. I'm live behind Walmart, BC. 25 points, Ross. You need a little more. It looks like you're flying WestJet for air miles. 25 points, Ross. Doesn't get it done. Live, Abbotsford, BC.